Alright, now we're going to talk about area of triangles, and your learning target is I can find the area of triangles. So we're going to talk about area of triangles, and in order to find the area of a triangle, we can use that formula that you guys have known for a long time. Area is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height of a triangle. Okay, so this blank is A is equal to 1/2 BH. Now there's also a special type of triangle that we can find the area. Okay, so if we know two sides and the angle formed by those sides, we can use the special formula, and this is your blank here. We can use the special formula AB, where A and B are just two sides. And the angle formed by those sides is theta, okay? So AB times the sine of this theta, okay? It's kind of a weird looking little shape here. It's like a circle with a line through the middle of it. AB times the sine of theta divided by 2, that will also give you the area of a triangle. Alright, example 1 asks us to find the area in the triangle and give the units with our answers and show our work, right? Okay, so again, remember, we're talking about area is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. And we're trying to find the area, so area is what we're solving for. And the base of the triangle is 10.6. And the height of the triangle is 7. And so all we have to do is set up our problem just like you do. Remember, you got to show your work. You do 1/2, or we can just really do the base times the height. So 10.6 times 7 divided by 2. That's the 1/2 part, right? If you multiply by a half, you're doing the same thing as dividing by 2. We press enter there, and we get 37.1. 37.1. So the area is equal to 37.1, and remember that's yards squared, because we're talking about area, so it's got to be yards squared. Make sure you label. Alright, example 2, we're missing the the base this time. We're missing the base, so we have to solve, given the same formula, we have to solve for what that missing dimension is there. So again, we've got the area, which is 14.6, is going to be equal to our base, 1/2 times the base, which we don't know, times the height, which is 4. Okay, and so we can do a little bit of solving first. We can multiply 1/2 times 4 first. So we get 14.6 is equal to 2 times b. Okay, and now just solve for the base. We got to divide by 2 on both sides. And 14.6 divided by 2 is 7.3 is equal to our b. Now remember, this is 7.3 miles. 7.3 miles. Don't forget to label. Alright, example 3 is one of those composite figures. That means that we have two shapes or multiple shapes or an awkward type of polygon here that we can break down and try to solve for the area of the entire shape, right? So we're trying to find the area of this figure, and we see that we have a rectangle followed by a right triangle. So we could extend this line down here a little bit, and now we have two different shapes, right? And we can find the area of both of those. We see that this rectangle here is a 6x7 rectangle, and this triangle here, we know if this is 3 millimeters and this whole thing is 6 millimeters, this has to be 3 millimeters here. And again, if the length of the rectangle here is 7 millimeters and the whole thing is 12 millimeters, that means this has to be 5 millimeters. So this is going to be 3 times 5, right? So let's first find the area of the rectangle, and that's simply 6 times 7, which is equal to 42 millimeters squared. And to find the area of the triangle, remember we do 1/2 times 3 times 5, okay? 3 times 5 is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 millimeters squared. Okay, and then finally we just have to add those two together. We end up getting 49.5 millimeters squared, and that's the area of that entire figure. So we see we can break down a figure based on the shapes that we do know, and we can kind of multiply the areas, find the areas of the shapes that we do know formulas for to find the area of the entire thing. Okay, example 4 asks us again to find the area of the triangle, and we see here that we're not given a whole lot of information. We're given the length or the base of the triangle is 12 units, and we're given one angle is 30 units, or 30 degrees. So what we have to do is we have to find out what the height of the triangle is. Now, in a right triangle, we can use our trig functions, right? We have to assume that this is a right triangle, and I know on your shape that's already been put in there. That was my fault. I forgot to put that one in there. We know that this is a right triangle, so we can find the height because the height is the opposite of this angle. This length is going to be the hypotenuse. This is going to be the adjacent. We're using our trig functions. And so because we're trying to find the opposite and we know the adjacent, we're going to use our tangent function. Remember SOHCAHTOA. So the tangent of 30 degrees is going to be equal to our opposite, which we don't know. That's just going to be x, divided by our adjacent, which is 12. Okay? And then to solve this, we're just solving for x, so we have to multiply by 12 on both sides. That'll cancel out on one side. And we'll be left with 12 times the tangent of 30. That's going to give us the value of x. So again, go to our calculator. I've already made sure that I'm in degree mode. You got to make sure you do the same thing. 12 times the tangent of 30 is 6.9. 6.9. So the height is 6.9 units. Now remember, when we do our multiplication, we want to use that full value that we have in the calculator, right? So we're now able to find the area of the triangle. Okay, the area of the triangle is 1/2 times the base, which is 12, times the height, which is 6.9. And we can plug that into our calculator. We're going to use this whole number, right? So we're going to multiply it by 12 and then divide by 2, and we get 41.6 units squared. Area is equal to 41.6 units squared. All right, this last example we have here uses that special type of formula that we talked about at the very beginning of the video. And remember, that very special formula to find the area of a shape was the one side times the other side times the sine of your theta, okay, the amount of degrees that you have. It's that circle with kind of a line through it, all divided by 2, right? And so all we have to do is just substitute those numbers into our equation here and solve. Okay, so our area is going to be equal to one side times the other side, so 4 times 5 times the sine of theta, which is our angle that is formed by those two sides, which is 148, divided by 2. Okay, we could simplify it a little bit and know that that's 20. And we could actually even simplify this even more and know that 20 divided by 2 is just going to be 10. So our answer really is going to be 10 times the sine of 148. Okay, and remember, you got to be in degrees though. So we've got 10 times the sine of 148, and we get 5.3. 5.3. So our area is 5.3 inches squared.